I can't believe you did all this work yourself.
Why not?
It's a lot.
Well, we spend all our time here. I want to make a paradise.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week we are also joined by a very special guest, one of my lovely little friends. Would you like to introduce yourself, Christine?
Hi, I'm Christine, and Chelsea is my mother, which is why I am here today.
Oh my God, isn't that special? Isn't that really
so
nice?
beautiful. I don't want to understand how you had a child at one, but that is very exciting that you have a child that I never met.
Well, this is my my special little baby. So, you know, we don't really need to explain anything. But yeah, I mean,
you guys have the same glasses, so I see the resemblance.
Oh my
it's
God.
very uncanny,
Did
actually.
we do that on purpose psychically today? Maybe.
It's that mother-child
I wear the
bond.
same glasses every day, so.
And I said, maybe today I'll do something a little different. But yeah, I mean, spoiler for what we're doing on the podcast this week. If you didn't listen to last week, if you don't pay attention to social media, we are doing the movie Mother! Exclamation point. It came out in
important.
Yeah,
It's
exclamation
incredibly
point, so important. It came out in 2017. If you know nothing about it, the IMDb logline reads, "A couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence." But I'd never seen it before. But Christina's a longtime listener of the pod, fan of the pod, and she's always maintained that if she were to be on the pod, she would want to do the movie Mother. So it just felt like Mother's Day is coming up. I'm Christine's mother, the movie Mother. Jennifer Lawrence is kind of having a moment with the Hunger Games revival again.
We are all your
really
mothers.
Naturally. Yeah,
are
we're
all
your
your
mothers as well.
Yeah, we're
Christine, you have so
moms.
many siblings.
Call me
No, it's so
mommy.
true.
Anyway,
well, I just think it's super informative to because this is the first time I'm meeting you, right? And I'm learning so much about you and how you like to experience pain as a person. And I think that's hot and kinky and really exciting. And it makes you spicier already. How great.
Thank you. Yeah, ideally, I never want to be comfortable in my home. And
good.
she really takes this movie
I-
as inspiration. Yeah, she really said, "This is what
I want
I'm
to be
looking
isolated and everyone come to me, actually. That is actually kind of nice, if you think
for."
about
I mean, if you're doing that full work remote lifestyle, you know, you're just hanging out at home.
And you live in
your little
an
house.
incredible Victorian home.
One of those
Gorgeous.
octagonal homes, just
Gorgeous
like Tyler and
kitchen.
Caitlin from Teen Mom.
The dream.
Another
Wow.
mother.
Another mother.
mother. My God, it's written on the wall.
Do you think they actually freaked out when they watched this movie at some point? They were like, "That's us."
I think
Tyler writes poetry, I think, if I recall correctly. So
How do you pronounce Darren's last name? Darren whatever.
Aronofsky?
Yeah,
Aronofsky.
Do you think he's a Teen Mom fan?
Probably he
Yeah,
actually
of
was
course,
watching
of
Teen Mom
course.
and was
I
like,
can see that.
"I've got exactly the
That's
idea."
the source
I have a
material.
script.
I mean, that's a CGI house, so it could have just been exactly a replica of their house, you know?
Is
They
it a
didn't
CGI
build-
house?
It looks super fake from the outside. When they do the outside picture of it,
Yeah.
that's a CGI
Mm.
house for sure.
Well, the
Inside the house, I
doesn't
mean, I
make
would hope
sense.
that wasn't all CGI.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good if it was.
That kitchen was very Nancy Myers. It's giving it's complicated. I would also be upset if people kept coming in, touching my stuff.
That one
Oh.
moment
Sitting
when
on
she walks
things.
into the kitchen, when Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer have arrived, and there's lemonade materials all over, just left the kitchen askew.
Oh, I have so many
not
thoughts.
okay. Yeah.
Let's start with how we have experienced this film in the past. Had anyone seen it besides Christine and I before this past week or
No.
last 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
And then, but Christine told me the reason she wanted to do, well, Christine, I'll let you speak for yourself, actually.
Actually, I would love to hear what I had told you. Because after watching it with you, I was like, Oh, why?
How did I preface this? Yeah. You
How did we
wanted
get
to
here?
do it because you
like to
watched
experience
it the
pain in your
first
kinky-
time.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe.
Now I
I
remember.
mean,
Now I
that
remember.
wasn't what she voiced to me, but that might have been the subtext.
Continue.
What was voiced to me was that you watched it and you didn't get it at first, and then people explained it to you. And so I think you wanted to bring the gift of that explanation to anyone else who might not have gotten it.
Yeah. And that is correct. I fully didn't understand it. And I don't know if I can spoil it, but
Sydney
it's actually...
accidentally already did spoil it in the group chat yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so many different interpretations, so we'll get into that. Well, I watched this for the first time like when it came out. I saw it in theaters. I did a double feature. I saw Mother, and then I saw It Part 1. And I was so... Yeah, well, I was doing a horror double feature. They came out like right around the same time. I was like, this is going to be awesome. Like in the theaters, the whole shebang. I felt so much anxiety throughout Mother that when it came time to watch Pennywise rip children limb from limb, I felt a sense of relief. I'm not kidding. I felt
Pennywise
comfortable and homey with Pennywise compared to watching this movie. It was so stressful. And I was like, okay, that was like what, like 5+ years ago, 6 years ago. Oh, that's crazy. It was 6 years ago.
How was that 6 years ago?
Wasn't as freaky back then. I was like sophomore in college or whatever. And no. I was out of college.
I was like, what?
I was out of college. I'm sorry. I'm 20. I'm 26.
2017. You were fully graduated. Yeah.
I'm 26. Actually, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if that math is right, but that sounds like a good age for me. Anyway, I was out of college, but I wasn't fully into horror yet. I was still spreading my wings. And I hadn't watched nearly as many freaky shit movies as I have now. So I was like, I'm going to watch this again. I'm going to understand what's going on. I'm going to get what he's trying to say, and I'm going to love it this time. No.
Okay, I do have questions because I watched it a week ago with Christine. Christine she told me she wanted to do it because there was something she didn't get. So I was trying to guess the whole time what she didn't get. And then I was trying to guess after I finished it and understood what there was to get. If Monica knew that about the movie or not, because you'd already seen it. And so I was like, does Monica know? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I looked it up immediately after.
Anything.
I looked it up immediately after because I was like, why the fuck does this exist? And I understand why, and it didn't make it better for me, but we're still going to talk about it.
I just truly feel that this movie would have been so much more impactful as like a 15-minute short.
Yeah, a short story like Fantasia, something short set to a song.
I think if they cut
no longer than 15
it would have been
minutes.
so much better. Yeah.
If they just
it jumped the fucking shark.
Yeah.
I think
if they
that
just
it
did
has
Michelle
something
Pfeiffer and
there.
Ed Harris being horny little devils.
And the kids.
Yeah.
Grown men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Then it would have been good.
So, okay, do you want to say what the whole thing with the movie is, Christine? Because this is...
Yeah, it is the Bible, which I grew up like really religious. I was reading that dang book all the time. I didn't see it. I didn't get it at all.
It's like
and
kind
so
of
when people
deep
told
in
me
there.
that, I was like, that's crazy. And the whole time I was watching it that first time, I was like, this is kind of wild, but I don't know. Like, the horror is kind of crazy. It's out there. And then when someone was like, yeah, it's, God. And like last week when we watched it, I kept learning of new things. Like, oh, this was the mark of Cain. And I was like, I have no idea what that is.
No.
All to say,
I only know that from Supernatural.
Oh my God, amazing.
Classic Supernatural is so important.
That's where I learned about God.
Anything that has to do with paranormal, religion, horror, Supernatural.
Literally,
yeah, it's right there.
I am not religious. I'm actually very like anti-religion. And so this movie made me so mad watching it. I might have been really high when I watched it the first time and had to turn it off because I wasn't paying attention and I was just mad.
That sounds like really a trauma experience.
Yeah, that'd be very bad.
PTSD watching this movie on drugs, like straight up. It's a horrifying experience.
And then like I was reading about it and I read that and then it just made me, I was like, that's why I was just irately mad.
She texted the group chat and she was like, how come nobody told me this was a Bible movie? And I was like, oh, does Monica know yet?
I just forgot because I literally blocked this out of my mind. Like, I remembered that I hated it, but I didn't remember anything else about it except for Jennifer Lawrence and vaguely Javier Bardem. So, like, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer were like a little surprise for me for a second. But then once it got started, I remembered the whole rest of it. And I was like, so glad that I have to watch it now. Sorry, I'm being a hater.
No, I mean, I
shot.
Like, I feel like I remember being so intrigued by the posters and like the crack in her cheek, and she looked so beautiful, and I was
bleeding heart she's pulling out of her chest.
And I was like, what could this be? And then when it's like, this is God and he sucks, it's like, like,
we knew that.
I feel like the Bible is scary. As someone who's no longer religious, the Bible is already pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was just so indulgent and so kind of sloppy, especially that second half of how they dealt with religion. And it's like, Darren,
well, okay, let's
get that camera away from Jennifer.
Yeah, get that thing out of your hands.
Back up. Yeah, get out of her face.
Give her some space. She's freaking out.
Seriously, but also just like, what? Okay, Darren is his first name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone say his name again because I just forgot it.
Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky. Okay, this man has such a fucking like up and down career because I was like looking through all of his movies. Apparently, he was on a fucking Jesus kick. Okay, this is Old Testament, but you know what I mean. Like for the last couple of films, because right before this, he did Noah. Which what do you think it was about? What do you think it was about? It was about Noah. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it, especially after this. And then he also did one called The Fountain, and that one was also religious. And I was like, why do I know this guy's name? I've said his name many times before, and it's not about Mother. Well, he also did Black Swan, which rocks. So that's confusing. And then most recently, he did The Fucking Whale, which I refuse to see on principle.
Yeah,
man.
Nope.
What?
Right?
Yeah, you're right. That is really kind of bouncing all over the place.
Well, okay, I've got Mother and I know about The Whale, and so I'm like, I'm not doing any of the rest of them. Sorry, Darren, if you're listening, don't turn it off now.
He also did Requiem for a Dream, which is
that was the other one,
and also Pi. Have you ever seen Pi? It is like so bizarre.
Yes, Requiem for a Dream I've also seen, and it's just like, again, just like a horror, like similar to this, where you're just like so stressed out the whole time, and then that one, and then you also feel like you're gonna die at the end of that one too. Spoiler, it's sad.
He loves a psychological thriller, I guess.
He does. And I mean, Requiem for a Dream, people love that shit, and it was well done, you know. It's contentious though. But I don't know. I feel like I've read everything about what he was trying to do with this movie, and it didn't like justify it for me. I was just like, okay, I love that you love Mother Earth, because basically there's two characters in this
I didn't
movie.
get that part though. I didn't think that part was communicated clearly in the movie at all. I got the Bible part, and then afterwards, Christine and I were debriefing, and she was like, "Yeah, Mother Earth," and I was like, that was what she was supposed to be. Like, I think making her the mother of the baby confused the issue a little, because I was like, Virgin Mary, he never fucks her.
I know that, so that was confusing. The whole second half gets completely confused, because like the first part of the movie is all the Old Testament up until the brothers. And I didn't know that guy Brian is Brian Gleason. Wait, is that his name? No.
Domhnall, I think.
Domhnall. I don't know how to say it. Never said it out loud. Never said it before. They're actually brothers.
It's complicated. It's not a lot of
real brothers though.
They're real brothers. That's cool.
And he's Bill Weasley.
Yeah, I love him. He's in so many things. We gotta do Ex Machina. Oh my god, that's movie. That's freaky psychological that we do need to do. But like, the Bible stuff, that stuff all makes sense, and then he stops doing the Bible for the second half, and then he's like, here was a brief history of the world. Like the
and
history
it's like out of order.
Man. Yeah.
And he makes it seem like it's all our fault, and it's like, Darren,
you invite them. Yeah, like
this is actually your fault.
I'm not picking anybody out and like just being like, they killed the baby, but we should forgive them.
It's actually all his
Yeah.
fault. Like, if he would have never locked them out of his office and been like, you know what, you did this thing, but like, it's chill. You could just stay here. It'd be fine.
Things
Yeah.
got really out of hand.
It's all
Things
his
got
fault.
really out of hand.
It's
Well, I
so
think-
out of all his fault. And also, I just literally can't deal with the fucking like misogyny that this is on its face, you know, when you are just watching it and you're not thinking too hard. You're just like watching a woman who has no agency and like can barely like say words to stand up for herself. Sorry that's mean, but like she like is just like, no, you know, and she just is getting
It's
shit on
giving,
and
like,
shit on and shit on and shit on.
professor and like a student who's like obsessed with the professor, like some
Yeah.
antiquated fantasy. You know, Darren's a creative.
Yes.
He loves the intention.
that
the
is the
writer is actually to be
Wow.
God. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
have
like I
considered
genuinely
that.
worry Darren thinks he's God. Like,
You guys,
step away.
Do
You know, like,
know that Jennifer Lawrence started dating him while they
Yeah.
were filming this movie, and he's also way older than her.
He's like
It's
Javier
yes.
Bardem, same
It's
age. Yeah.
them. It's
Is that
so
right?
weird.
well, they broke up like after the movie was released or was shot or something. I mean, if I
Good.
saw that last 10 minutes, I'd be like, you
No,
get the
thank
hell out of
you.
here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You're
Oh
never
my
telling me to leave
God.
my number.
He's like, no, I'm condemning it, Jennifer. I don't know.
It
No,
had to
no,
be that
no.
long. We had to show you suffer like that.
You
That's why
had
I'm not
to
saying it's
get
good. I'm saying this is
beat
the
to
cycle.
shit. Oh my God.
I will
But yeah,
say
they
though,
broke up like 2 months after the movie came out.
Good.
Allegedly in part because it got such terrible reviews. I don't know if that came between them or what, but
He was like, oh, she's gonna get Oscar noms for this. I'm like, I don't even think it was that good of a performance. She just looked shocked and very shiny for 2
I
hours.
actually think it was a good performance. I'm going to stand up for my girl, J Law.
Okay, go for
I
it.
think she did a good job. I thought it was honestly effective because you're constantly on her face and you see so
Yeah.
much of it
She's
from
so
her
cherubic,
perspective.
yeah.
And I genuinely, I got that anxiety. I got that
Totally.
discomfort. I got that, like, I don't feel safe. And I think it's kind of like, I mean, what do you do with that role?
Yeah,
Get
no,
in
you're
this
right. It's
nightie,
the
take your
role,
bra
not
off,
her.
you
That's
know?
what it is. The
Like,
role isn't Oscar worthy, not her
Yeah.
performance. She did great within what she had.
Yeah. And I think I gotta bring it back to my guy, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought I could watch a full movie of them being Adam
freaky
and
little
Eve.
weirdos.
yeah, they
Oh
were
Freaky
my
little
great.
weirdos, horned up. They are like, we gotta do this ASAP.
They made me so mad though. That's the thing. Okay. That's the other reason why I hate this movie so much, because it is just like my fucking worst nightmare. Because I host parties all the fucking time and people come to my house, and there's nothing that I hate more than when people come to my house that aren't invited. I've had that happen a lot of times. And also who like just like take advantage of your space when you're like trying to provide something that is nice, and then they just totally take everything and leave everything a mess. I had a party one time and this girl brought her boyfriend, and I didn't know who the fuck he was, and I was like, okay, whatever, I like you, so fine, you can bring her boyfriend. He took 2 beers and he was like, do you know you can do this? 2 bottled beers, and open the tops against each other, and they exploded all over my kitchen. It's like that. It was like that. One time somebody
Yeah, that was kind
threw
of a
up.
mother situation.
Yeah. One time somebody threw up in the non-garbage disposal side of my sink at one of my parties, and I had to scoop it
Of
out
all
with my
the
hand.
sides of the
I
sink
was
to throw
Why
up.
would you
I
scoop it out
know.
with your hand? Why couldn't you use something else to scoop it out?
I was hungover, and that's all I had at the time. There were no gloves. This was in college. You think I
Don't
had gloves?
ask questions.
No. I didn't
Look,
even have a
sometimes you make
Ziploc
decisions
bag.
and you
I didn't want to get anything else dirty. It's fine. But I scooped it out with my bare hand, and I had to do that.
So
Someone broke
gross.
my toilet one time because they flushed too hard. Like
they flush too hard.
they snapped the toilet
Oh,
flusher off. They like
Okay, your
snapped
life
it.
is kind of like a mother situation. No wonder you're so angry.
I've had like these people like come into my house when I'm trying to like provide something else, and just absolutely fuck it and like have no remorse. I've had people come stay with me and invite all their friends over and not ask me first multiple times.
All right, we're
You know
burning
who
it
you
down.
are.
We're starting
and
again.
So literally all of these things, I was just like, I am so triggered right now.
People are the worst.
Yeah, I hate
They do
that
deserve to
kind.
die.
So it's
Yeah,
just like,
I
this
mean-
is a host's worst nightmare. That sink is not braced.
I mean, okay, I think that I do really like the first half of this movie where it's like you're in her head and it's just like the psychology of being so out of control in your own home, and like it's not
Totally.
quite a home invasion movie because they have permission from the host to be there, but it's like, what do you do when you're in a home invasion and the invaders are being actively accomplished by your husband? You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
that is
I know.
so
Disrespect.
I know. The first time you let it slide. The second time you murder your husband.
I agree.
Mhm.
There's
I
no
agree.
second time in this movie though. Everything escalates from the first time.
You should kill him right away.
No.
Even
When
though
Michelle
Javier
Pfeiffer
Bardem is very
shows
good-looking.
up, that's the second time.
That's when you go murder.
Death.
Okay.
Yeah, death.
No, it's just like that's the horror of this too. Like I understand it's steeped in meaning, blah 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 blah, but it's just like this relationship with such an unequal power dynamic, even age distinguished. Wow, what am I trying to say? Age difference aside, obviously that plays into it. He just doesn't even consider asking her what she would like in regards to this house that she literally built board for board and put back together. I mean, we know
Sort
when
of.
we watch the movie that it's actually her magic heart, but she has memories of getting the wood and putting the wood down and not using a hammer. I don't know, other things that you use to build. I don't know. And so it's so disrespectful. I'm like, Javier Bardem, you're not handsome enough for this, and
That's
you
exactly
can't
right.
get
That's
good enough
exactly
already
right.
for
Bardem's
this.
looks alone. He's a very handsome man.
I think he's very handsome, but he's not handsome enough for that, and he's not even
He does
fucking
kind
her.
of
God
have the
damn.
face of like, if we have sex, I'm gonna fuck your life up.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
Which
for
You see
is my
that.
type. That's my type.
You were really struggling this whole film.
Sydney's in
Like
the
the
house.
attraction was
That
there.
is
Yeah.
absolutely. Here's the thing. I literally was like, you know what? If God looked like Javier Bardem, maybe I could get down with it.
No,
Maybe.
All
seriously.
I'm saying is,
He's got
I
a
watched that
huge
movie
face and I
where
love
he
it.
has the ugly haircut and he does the
No Country for
machine
Old
to
Men. No Country
cows.
for Old
Yeah,
Men.
and this is a big improvement. So we're grateful for everything he's got going on here, looks wise.
He is a little breezier here than when he
Yeah.
was.
Better haircut for sure. I will find the picture and I will give it to you guys, but I had a like really interesting like short bob freshman year of college, and
Just
I
like
showed
his.
my ID card to my friend and he laughed and he was like, I was like, what? And he was like, you just kind of look a little masculine. And I was like, what do you mean masculine? No one's ever called me that. And he was like, you look like Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. And I literally have his exact fucking haircut, like literally the exact haircut. We'll put it on social.
I just fell in love with Javier Bardem in Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
I haven't seen
Oh.
that.
That's a good movie. That's
It's
a good
good
Javier
movie.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
good
Should we
Javier
pivot?
movie, right?
That's
Well,
why
that's
I'm so
another
mad.
movie where if you have sex with Javier Bardem, your life
It's
gets
over for
absolutely
you.
bugged. You go a little
Yeah.
crazy.
No,
Something
so
about that
true.
man.
Her life got way worse after she fucked him. Like way worse. Like super bad. There was a
Well-
war in their house.
Yeah.
Do you remember that part when Kristen
minus
Wiig
mini.
executed everyone?
You remember when Kristen Wiig shows up at all and you're like, Kristen Wiig is here? What?
Is that Kristen Wiig?
That's when the movie lost me because this came out in 2017. So she was like fresh off of SNL. Like she was like much more like in the zeitgeist at that moment as like funny lady. And I'm not saying that she can't spread her wings and fly and do whatever the fuck that she wanted, but the movie was already getting so weird. And then Kristen Wiig showed up and she becomes like a warmonger. And I was like, this has jumped the shark so hard. I can't take it seriously anymore.
Well, I think a little bit that was Darren Aronofsky's vision, not for it to jump the shark, but apparently he liked that Kristen Wiig is such a familiar face and she shows up and he said it like adds to the fever dream-esque quality of the second half of the movie.
Okay, I can see that.
But yeah, I also found it very distracting, especially because I didn't really know anything about the movie before I watched it. And I don't know why, but I thought it was like a very, very, very small cast. Like I kind of almost thought it was just Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence. And then every time a new character kept showing up, I kept being like, there's more people? And like,
And
when
it's
they got
Ed
to the
Harris?
first funeral scene, I was like, where are all these people coming from? And then it was like more and more and more. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is happening here? And, you know, he is good at giving you the feeling of Jennifer Lawrence's, oh my God, what's happening here? Why are all these people in this house?
Mm-hmm. You're really in
But
her
there's no
shoes
like
in this
natural
movie.
reason for them to be there, you know? Like
They
it's
love
crazy.
him. They adore him.
His
That
poetry,
poem
it's
can't be
so
that good. It's on one page. That was okay.
I hated when she reads his book, his little book of poetry or whatever, and then they take us outside, and it's like the world, I don't know, coming together, and I'm like,
it's all burned down.
Darren,
in
it's
that
on
one
site.
part.
Like your art is not this good. Like stop acting. Like
Poem
this is
Darren, it's
moving
on
at all.
site. I'm dead. I agree. I will fight him with you. No questions asked.
Well, it's just so lazy to be like, it's so lazy and it's so limiting to be like, we just have to believe that his poetry is that good. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's such a annoying take to be like, well, of course, he's the poet. Like, of course everyone comes. And it's like, he's not that charming. I don't think anything he says is moving at all. And now all of a sudden Kristen Wiig's here. Now all of a sudden my baby's in the air. You know, like it just there's no connection with anything. And I think it's supposed to be Javier and he doesn't do it.
No, he's not in it enough. I don't know, because he just disappears for so long, and that's supposed to be part of it. It's like, oh, God has been lost, and we don't have God anymore. And it's interesting because I don't think that Darren is like into God. I think he's like not religious, but maybe he's fascinated by it. I think he's like angry at religion.
I mean, I would say this is fairly anti-religion.
Yeah, totally. But it's just like interesting that he focuses on it so much. And then like, I don't know, there's so many other parallels for it, but I read this whole article on IndieWire. That was like an interview with him where he explains the movie a little bit more. It's like not totally an interview, it's like uses pieces from it. Because basically when they released this movie, they did a really good job of being like super mum is the word on what was actually happening with it. Like they released this like poem thing on the internet and like the really beautiful poster images. This is what the poem was. It was called Mother's Prayer. Our mother who art underfoot, hallowed be thy names. Thy seasons come, thy will be done within us as around us. Thank you for our daily bread, our water, our air, and our lives, and so much beauty. Lead us not into selfish craving and the destructions that are the hungers of the glutted, but deliver us from wanton consumption of thy vast but finite bounty. For thine is the only sphere of life we know, and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Like, God, he's so pedantic. Sorry. Yeah, I know.
Well, that's like the Lord's Prayer. Like, that's the big
It's the Lord's
one.
Prayer, but it's like about Gaia. That's what it's about.
God damn it, Darren.
Like, I know.
Here's the thing. He, I don't think was necessarily trying to, well, I mean, he's definitely trying to say something about religion. I'm not sure exactly what it is other than God is selfish, maybe. But his like what he wanted to communicate was like the pillaging and destruction and exploitation of humanity and Mother Earth and our planet and like the horrors that we've allowed to exist around us. But I think if so much of his take was about Mother Earth and the climate, he really didn't communicate that she was Mother Earth. Like, I get that the house is sort of Earth, but if she's like Mother Nature, essentially, the fact that we never see her outside other than one moment on the porch and in his story when she's standing outside in the destruction watching life be breathed back into the home, like, it's so hard to make that connection and understand exactly what he's trying to communicate when he's not giving her like any Mother Earth imagery at all. He's just giving her mother imagery.
This mother imagery. No, that was the issue, and that's why this interview that I was reading, like, basically they were mum is the word about everything leading up to the movie, and then the movie came out and no one knew what the fuck was going on, and so like literally they couldn't figure out what he was trying to do, because even the religious stuff, some of it is super overt, but like the Ed Harris, like his rib being gone when he's barfing into the toilet, it's a blink and you miss it. I missed it this time. I didn't see it at all, and I was like, I'm not rewinding this movie for 1 second, so I'm not going back. But like you could miss it super easily, and like I love a movie that's got like all this allegorical shit and it's got this steeped in meaning, but I like it needs to be a little bit accessible so people can justify watching like this torture porn for like 2 fucking full hours, you know? So he had to go on this whole like tour where he was like, I am explaining the movie to you now. Here I am explaining it. But he was still super the poet about parts of it. We'll get into that in a little, but it's just so I don't think it's an effective movie if no one can get it unless you tell them, you know? And
I
I
mean,
feel
Or
like
it's so
movie-
obvious
I
that
get
like
it.
Yeah.
you
But I
have
knew there
like
was something to get.
religious, yeah, like if you have literally a baby being ripped apart, like it has
Yeah.
to be so
The
in your
blood of
face,
the body of
right?
Oh,
Like it's
yeah.
so like
That part was so metal.
disturbing.
I liked that part.
Oh, I fucking hated
when
it so
when they're all
much.
passing, they're crowd surfing the baby, nobody's
crowd
supporting its
surfing
head,
the
and its head just
baby.
goes plop. Like what?
When its little thingy loincloth comes off and it's pissing into the
And it's just
sky.
peeing everywhere.
It's just peeing all around and it's wiggling, woggling, and you hear its neck snap. Jesus fuck.
Yeah,
That was metal AF.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I started to clue in. Christina and I were texting while we were watching it together, and I was trying to see like where I put it together. I think it's during her pregnancy, like when the home is really being invaded, and there's one point where they like walk by a wall that has all of the pictures and stuff all over it, and I started to be like, okay, that's very like religious idolatry, like imagery, and then I was like, oh shit, like was that Cain and Abel earlier? And that's when I was like, got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
didn't grow
think
up learning anything about the Bible, and I read the Spark Notes on it when we had to read it in 9th grade for English class. I did not read it, so I have like no background
Spark Notes for
information
the
on any of
Bible.
this. I don't get a lot
Honestly,
of religious
me
references.
either.
Yeah,
this movie is Spark Notes for the Bible, sort of, not really. That's what's
but
confusing
I got
too.
the religion allegory for sure because they
Yeah.
were revering him like he was a god. I just didn't get that like that was Ed Harris and Eve and Michelle Pfeiffer were
well, there's
like,
no
older
like
age horny Adam and Eve.
there's no devil, like there's
God
no
is the devil
antagonist
and
other than God
himself.
And people.
for, and we have fucked everything up. And
Well,
so I'm now changing my opinion, but I kind of understand why now he makes Javier so bland and like one note, because I think he's saying that to have faith in religion is very dumb. And to
Yeah.
fight
No.
and kill each other for religion is so stupid. But I
yeah, like
still
you're
think
fighting
that's
for this guy.
right.
This
But I
guy?
still think that's like a very cynical and unfortunate way to look at life, you know? And like, I don't think it has anything to do with Earth. I don't think because people are religious that we fucked up Earth. I think it's money. Like, let's be
Yeah.
serious here. It's not God, it's money. And you didn't really touch on that because Darren, I just think he thinks he knows why the world is the way it is, and this is his
Yeah.
movie explaining
He
it.
got
And
really
it's
lost
like
in
that's
the
not
God
right.
did this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's trying to point everything back to Javier Bardem, who is God. It's like all these people were inspired by him, but he is not a good leader because he doesn't exist and he's not actually there leading and all of this
Right.
stuff. And it all comes back to him. And he perpetuates the cycle. But I agree. Like he's mixing his metaphors when he's trying to put this environmentalism part into it because it's like, how dare you make Mother Earth, Gaia, the Earth goddess? How dare you make her so like placid? You know, she only has the power in destruction at the end, but like she's the Earth, you know, and she like. I just hated that she had to be so docile throughout and she was so under the thumb of God. And that's also stupid too. Why is Earth in love with God? No, that's not how that works at all. That's separate.
Yeah. I read in an article where they were talking about how there really is this sort of like connection between Jennifer Lawrence and the house, and how to some degree they're sort of like one being, and she's like barefoot to emphasize that connection, and when she like touches the wall and you like see the heart inside of it,
I think
that's
so
like
corny.
their connection. But I mean,
that was corny. Is that what you said?
Yeah, every time I saw that dang heart, I was like, we get it.
It wasn't really like effectively communicating anything either. Like, does she love him and that's her love for him dying? Or like what's being told to me in that moment? But yeah, I mean, I think the connection between that is really weak also, because you get like one moment where the sink is not braced and they break it, and then you have like the flood, like the water leak is like the flood. But that wasn't like her rage that caused that or anything. It was like brought on by like human irresponsibility.
By climate change, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And
it's all about like, climate change.
But also they're saying like the home is her and she created it and she's the one doing everything in it. She did everything by hand. That's not true. We see him creating and bringing the home back to life, and he says to her like, "Oh, you did this." But she's not actually.
He didn't do it. Her heart brought it back to life. Don't take away her big thing she did. Her dead heart has magic powers, and it brought the house back to life. That's how I saw it at least. I don't want to give that to Javier Bardem.
But yeah, I think you're right in that if you're trying to stick to the Bible, like the flood was God. God sent the flood in the Bible.
Yeah.
And here you're suggesting that it's either mother or it's these people who brought it on.
Bad party, yes.
Right. And I also think you're right in that like we never see mother really be that generous. And I feel like that's part of environmentalism, is that, you know, we want to protect what the earth gives to us. Yeah. And we never see her in that kind of positive, generous light. We see her stuck inside that house, painting and scraping and cooking. And, you know, we don't see her as this powerful giving entity, you know? And so that's why I thought the house was earth, you know? And it is, but mother is also earth.
But and also, when she dies,
has sex.
Yeah. Well, does she even have sex? We don't see it. It fades away.
God fucks the
it fades to black.
She remains virginal because it doesn't fade to black. It fades to white. Pure as the driven snow.
So then she's also Mother Mary.
I guess. I don't know.
Too much. Women have to do everything.
I know. Seriously, she's wearing so many hats.
Okay, wait. I did have an alternate theory when I was trying to guess what it was, and I think it was really a banger of a theory before really the whole second part of the movie happened. And I would like to present it to you as an alternate. Maybe we remake this movie and do my version instead.
I'm excited. I've liked your versions in the past a lot better than the original, so continue.
Yeah. So I'm watching. I know there's something to figure out. I'm watching with Christine, and I'm seeing, you know, they go down into the basement. There's that whole thing with the wall there where it's kind of like boarded up or like cemented over in the brick or whatever. I'm like, okay, like Cask of Amontillado vibes. Like she goes upstairs. There's the whole bit with the brothers, and there's like the beating heart in the walls when she touches it, and there's the wound in the floor that like keeps coming back no matter, like they board it over, they put the rug on it. I was like, okay, telltale heart vibes. And then I was like, didn't Edgar Allan Poe have a much younger wife and he was a poet?
Oh my god,
Javier Bardem is Edgar Allan Poe. That's the twist. And I think, you know, he did a lot of spooky stuff. He did a lot of horror. I was like, maybe he has another story about home invasion stuff. He lived in Maryland. I think he lived in Baltimore specifically, but I was like, I don't know, maybe he lived in the Maryland countryside. It could be him.
Did he like his cousin?
Yes, his much younger cousin.
Gross.
Which feels very Javier Bardem, Jennifer Lawrence in this film. I was like,
they do give off cousin
something.
Vibes. There is zero chemistry.
No, there's
you don't
no
see
chemistry.
him be affectionate. Yeah. It's a weird. Even the IMDb. I'm surprised they call it a couple because they're not talking. Nothing's happening.
Even Michelle
really.
Pfeiffer is like,
She
you
just
guys are
looks at her with love
so
eyes.
sexless. What's that about? You're such a gorgeous little beauty,
she's
but you're
such a
wearing
fucking
granny
bitch.
panties.
If someone said this shit to me, I would be so mad. I was like, get the fuck out of here. You
When
have
she
the
was
audacity.
taking that laundry out, that wet laundry, I was like, this is unforgivable.
Threw it on the ground. Oh my
You
God, I
better
was
walk
seeing
out this
red.
house right now.
There was a point where
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's gonna fuck him. Like, she's gonna fuck her man. And I was like,
Michelle
okay,
Pfeiffer?
yeah.
It was giving very possessed Michelle Pfeiffer in What Lies Beneath.
Which is my favorite Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, so good. Oh, really quickly before we get too far away from Edgar Allan Poe, I just want to let you know that there is a song that is up for the Eurovision Song Contest this year from Austria by a group called Selena and Taya, and it's called Who the Hell is Edgar? And it's all about Edgar Allan Poe, and it's fucking insane, and it's kind of a banger. So I think that, like, if you want to just have a little bit more Edgar in your life because you were feeling it, you should experience
And I
that.
was.
It can inspire a new script. Mother
It's a
2.
weird bop.
We'll put
Mother
it in the
2,
soundtrack.
Edgar Allan Poe.
But yeah, I thought
Oh
that was
my
a really
God.
good guess. And I kept being like, the
I thought it
last
was
line
good
of the
too.
film is going to be, I love you, Edgar Allan Poe. Like, I was like, they haven't said anybody's name
nice
because they're
little
going to
bow.
reveal that he's Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my God. That's really, really special.
It felt right. There's a lot of literary allusions, though. I do feel like they were Telltale Heart stuff. And like, Christine and
The
I talked about how, do you want to say?
The yellow powder thing.
Yeah, the yellow powder.
Oh my God.
It's like yellow wallpaper.
The woman in the yellow, what is that story called? The woman in the yellow wallpaper?
Isn't it just called the yellow wallpaper? Uh-oh.
Is it?
What?
I had no idea. Is that ground
Well,
post?
yeah, the woman in the yellow wallpaper. Or
woman.
no, you're right. It's just called the yellow wallpaper. But it's a short story that I have read, but years and years and years ago at this point, like probably a decade and a half ago. But it's also like a woman being kept in her home by her husband, and she is experiencing some like psychological horror.
Maybe
And
Darren didn't even know that this was underneath it all for him. This was just coming out. He was just this exuding Poe energy.
he's just like so creative, and he's like read so much poetry and so many stories and so much art, and then it just like he as the creator made this beautiful thing where he put it all together, and to create is to become God. And
You're the
I
god
don't
of
know,
that
though. It is, like,
creation, I guess. But
there's
that's
a
about
really
it,
important one at
honey.
the end too. If you can guess what it might be.
Edgar Allan Poe one.
N-
The part
what?
when are we still talking about Edgar Allan Poe? I got confused.
No. Well, I mean, I don't know. There could be more Edgar Allan Poe, but there's a really important literary allusion at the end
Oh.
that he's named himself. So Christine and I were spot on when we called it out when we were watching.
Perfect. Well, okay. We'll talk about that in 1
I
second.
don't
One
remember.
second before we get to the end, I just want to say the thing that pissed me
You're
off
so
maybe
smart,
the
Christine.
most.
I'm sure you'll come up with it again.
You're gonna get it. It's within you. These epiphanies stick with you. So okay, the yellow potion. We were talking about the yellow wallpaper. The yellow potion that Mother drinks. I hate that her name is just Mother. Also pisses me off. Anyway, that Mother drinks whenever she's super anxious after she sees through the wall into the heart of the house. Blah blah blah. Whatever. And then it's like a sparkly little potion, you know? And you're like,
And it's got, like,
okay, God, let's think
little
of
sounds
It
with
God.
does look kind of really nice though. You know
It
those like
does.
greens that girls on
Effervescent.
TikTok, you know, like those fitness girls
Oh,
on
yeah.
TikTok do. I feel like it's kind of like that. It's kind of like your athletic greens to get you going for the day.
It looks like it has edible glitter in it too, though.
It looks like it would be like a turmeric latte, just without the milk.
But with
And-
edible glitter in it.
Yeah. And honestly,
Mother's
turmeric
trendy.
lattes are delicious and they're
They
so
are.
healthy.
Mother
They're
is like
very
health
delicious.
is wealth.
Mother.
But edible glitter tastes bad. Sorry to break it to you, girlies. You can taste it and it's weird. Just saying. It's not awful.
I've
But
never
you can taste it.
had edible glitter, I don't think. Does it make your shit sparkly?
You know, I should have paid more attention to that. I will have
How
it. I
could
have
you-
some at my house.
I think
I'll
you
have
would
it again.
notice. I
Thank
think you would
you.
notice, honestly.
So it
I
must
wish
not
it
that
was
doing a
more
because
deep
I've also had it.
inspection.
I
But,
need
you
a
know.
deep inspection. on
I'll do a
that.
deep inspection for you. I'll do a little science project over the weekend.
Thank
But anyway,
you.
okay. all of this, Darren goes on this tour where he's explaining everything because no one got it and they needed him to explain it. And this movie had a $30 million budget and it only made $7.5 million back. $30 million budget, $7.5 million back. I don't know if that's total, but that's the figure I saw in my Collider article. Anyway, so this is his quote about the potion. I will never answer what Jen is drinking. That secret I will take to the grave. Bitch, who fucking cares that much? Good for you. I don't care.
He said she's got her little potion. I saw something that was talking about how it's like sunlight and water is what the earth needs to be rejuvenated after disasters, and like it's sunlight made tangible, I guess, which makes sense. It's yellow. To me, it felt like she was dosing herself with like ground up lead paint chips.
Do y'all know that TikTok song where it's like, if that bitch hella basic, then that bitch gotta go. What's in my cup? That's that potion. That's this movie.
Wow.
That's Mother.
That's Mother. Coming next week with her drinking that. Yes.
If that bitch, Javier Bardem, hella basic, that bitch gotta go. And she was not that impressed by his poetry. And we know because he's like, you're not that impressed by my poetry. That's why I need to have these huge super fans here because they really get it. And I can stay up all night talking with them. And she's like, I like your poetry. And he's like, okay.
Well, it's because that felt just misogynistic to me. He's like, I don't care if a woman likes it. You're just going to like anything that I make because you're my wife.
You have
That's
to.
That's what that felt like to me. Yeah. Ugh, he's so annoying. He's like, oh, she doesn't want a whiskey. She doesn't drink that much. Girl, let me choose if I'm going to have a little whiskey or not. Okay. Maybe I want to have whiskey with Ed Harris. Maybe I want to.
I wonder what was that about? Just like another God controls the earth. Her. Yeah.
Being like, boys drink, girls don't. It's just like,
she was not company to him. She's furniture.
Yeah. Oof. There are some like gut punch blows too, as far as their relationship that pissed me off so much. Like when she read his work for the very first time and she was so moved by it that she cried and she was like, this is so amazing. And she had like caught him in this pose, like in the doorway, like what she thought was in the moments after his great work had been completed. And she's the first one to read it. And no, he had already sent it to his publicist before that. And he got a phone call immediately afterward. Like, you just see the, like, wind go out of her sails. That shit sucked.
Yeah, it's hard not to get lost in the Bible, religion, the world, and people are bad of all of this movie. But if you don't get to the end yet, even that alone is, like, a really heartbreaking, horrifying moment. Because it's like, they've had all of this stuff, this really scary experience where these people come into her home. All this drama comes with them. He's puking. He is fine. His wife is here. They're fucking. She's being so mean. His children are coming. A murder has happened. They're destroying her home. They leave her alone with a murderer on the loose.
Yes.
Finally, he comes back. Finally, he comes back. He checks on her. They fight. And then they consummate their love, maybe, and make a little baby. She's pregnant immediately. It sparks this beautiful joy in him, this like creativity. He can create again. He's been blocked for so long, but creating something with her leads to this spirit in him. But she immediately loses him again. They've just connected. He's just seen her again. She immediately loses him to his work. She thinks at least he's sharing it with me. At least it's something with me. No, literally has nothing to do with you. You're still a byproduct.
No, she makes that gorgeous dinner. She's wearing that gorgeous dress. She got her hair all the way done.
She was looking all
and then all these people are coming and eating her food.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Look at that cake. That wasn't his cake. He was just eating it with his hands. Terrible.
Disgusting.
That little boy peed all over her floor. There's a lot of bad things happening.
I would be so mad if there was just baby piss all over my guests that were like at my house, like not even on the floor. It's all over the people, and they're tracking it all over the floor.
Ugh, it's insult to injury. And God, and later on too, one of the parts of the movie that makes me like the most like upset as well is like another moment where they're finally connected again after she's literally been through fucking war on her own and watched a bunch of people fucking blow up, and Kristen Wiig almost executed her. Like all of these things, like they're finally together again because she's giving birth to their baby. She somehow survived all of that and kept the baby safe inside of her or whatever. And she's giving
Even though
birth
she
to the
gets knocked
baby.
to the ground, I thought it was going to be game over for a moment there.
I know, but she braced herself just the right way. She's thinking about number one, which for her is the baby at all times. And then she finally gives birth to him, and his first thought is, I want to show the baby to all these
My
people. And then
fans.
she immediately can't trust him. She has to stay awake for days.
Well, I don't think she trusted him that whole time.
Well,
She got pregnant. A mini Holocaust happened in their house,
Of
and
course.
she's like, I don't like this man.
You let this happen.
Right. Yeah, because she doesn't let this baby out of her sight, which I don't know what that means in any paradigm of whatever he's trying, like whatever allegory. Yeah. And then
God's gonna steal
she
your
falls
baby.
asleep. She like moves to change or something like that, but she loses track of the baby. Baby's
She
dead
falls
within
asleep,
minutes.
yeah.
She falls
Well, no,
asleep.
she falls asleep. She very
And it's like
deftly
one
maneuvers
blink.
an outfit change while holding the baby, which was very impressive. But yeah, she
Yeah.
like slowly fades away, and in 1 second he's taken the baby and given it to the flock. But I guess that's a Jesus allegory because what do they say? God gives his only begotten son to the people and sacrifices him so they can be free and blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Which is part of
I
the
only
really
went to church a
confusing
couple
metaphor
times.
of her being
Yeah.
Mother Earth and also Mother Mary.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'd be kind of pissed if I were Mother Mary. It's like, first of all, everyone got mad at me because I was supposed to be a virgin. Now I'm pregnant all of a sudden. I had to deal with that. I have this baby. He gets crucified. Are you serious? I'm pissed. Mother Mary should also be pissed.
Uh-huh.
We
but
love
he came
feminine
back,
rage.
Christine.
Yeah,
did
and
their
I
whole
wish
Easter
there was
thing.
more feminine rage. I wish there was more feminine rage in
Yeah.
this. We get that, but only at the very, very end after we had to watch her. That fucking beat up scene is like one of the worst things I ever seen in my life. It just like they did something where it looked like beyond realism.
It was so horrifying. It was not effective. It was bizarre. Like, I genuinely hate when directors, and this typically happens with male directors, just rely on violence for the visual of it all.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, it's such a disgusting way to end this movie about, like, the point was made, Darren. Like, she suffered. We saw her. We saw her in war. We saw her lose her child. Like, you don't need to show us her being physically beaten to that extent. Like, it feels so indulgent and just like,
so
look at this thing that I've done. It's like, ugh, disgusting, Darren. Go for a walk.
And also the fact that they don't show her pleasure, her only pleasure moment when she gets to fuck Javier Bardem, which I'm sure would have been hot. We don't get to see that. We just get to see her get beat to shit.
She got one little
that
smile
violent
as he's
too.
carrying her up the stairs. Seemed dangerous on the stairs, though. I was worried for them on the stairs.
Yeah,
But-
that's gotta hurt your back.
He's got great core strength.
True. It's tough because again, she's the house is her, and so when they're like pulling off pieces of the house, it's sort of like they've already showed the physical destruction and exploitation of the earth, and then they're doing it to her body as well. It's just like a little hard to know what exactly he's communicating and how well he's communicating it when it's like if you have to do it twice, and you don't have the connection to the earth itself, if that's what you're saying, like we're destroying the earth itself. But I will say part of that, a little bit of it at least, was
the literary
credit
reference?
to Jennifer Lawrence more than Darren Aronofsky, because it wasn't quite as explicit originally, but she knew like what his vision was. She used to have like a whole thing about like not wanting to be nude or do any topless scenes or anything like that in film.
Her titties were out this entire movie.
her titties were not out this entire movie, because when they were out, I went, oh shit, we haven't been seeing her titties this whole time because the camera's just here for so long.
Oh my God, that's so wrong, Chelsea. The first time that she like enters the screen, she turns around and she is in a completely sheer, not completely sheer, but a sheer dress, and you can just see her boobs. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
seeing
minute
nipple for
2.
sure.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no bra for, she's free boobing it the entire rest of the movie. So it's,
Sure.
Yeah.
But
it's like,
there would be moments where she'd like lean forward or something, the camera angle would shift and you'd see boobie, and I would go, oh man, like it reminded me like how tight on her we really are the entire time.
Yeah.
That they're out of
her
frame.
titties are in it.
But there are very notable titty moments, for sure. I agree on
Like
that
that
point.
moment when she realized she's in her nightgown at the funeral and she like just looks down and the camera just looks down at her tits.
Yeah.
And then it goes back up.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Eve in this movie should be a real housewife. Like the way
Yes.
she absolutely breaks down Mother at every second. I'm like, we
She's
need you
so
on reality
mean.
television.
She's so mean.
Andy Cohen needs you now.
After Scandival, this is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she used to not want to do nudity in her movies, and then she knew like what that scene was supposed to be communicating and portraying, and she like had her bra still on at first, and then they like watched the dailies or whatever afterwards, and she was like, okay, like it's not going far enough, like we got to get the bra off. And so they like refilmed it and escalated it. And I guess the environment on set was like actually so comforting and cozy that she's like, maybe I can do nudity now. And then she did like that other movie, Red Sparrow or whatever, where she did, I don't know, I didn't see it, but I guess a lot. But yeah, I mean, so a little bit that was a collaborative effort to make the scene
And didn't
what it
she
was.
also like her nudes were
Leaked
Oh, yeah.
right around this
around
time.
this
Yeah.
time.
Right around
Yeah.
this
So I
time.
think
Yeah.
probably she was like,
Well,
I'll
everybody's
show
seen it.
you.
Let me
Yeah.
at least reclaim it.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor thing.
Oh, and yeah, you were saying that to me after we watched it too, where you were saying like part of doing that scene for her was important to be like, this was sort of my experience. Everybody's grabbing at me. Nobody's like, nobody cares
like,
about
calling
me
her
at
awful
all. They're just
things,
like
yeah.
want what they want. Yeah.
No offense
what
to my
an
gal,
experience
and that
Jennifer
sounds
Lawrence
tough.
had with this
Yeah.
But
whole
yeah, this is kind of crazy. I wonder what she thinks about it now.
I know. I read an
Well, maybe that's why they broke
interpretation
up.
of this film also that's like relating it to her relationship with Darren, and then like how she's violated as the house is violated is similar to the violation she experienced with her nudes being leaked and all this shit. And obviously he couldn't have written it about that, but it was just
She
an
related to
interesting
it.
thing. Yeah.
I just wish
okay.
another director had done this. Like if a Lynn Ramsey, got in there,
Yeah.
or I don't know,
Anybody
literally
else?
anyone else.
Yeah,
Get
I'm like
Steven
a
Spielberg
Darren
up in here.
Aronofsky
Let's see what he
fucking
does with
hater.
it.
I'm a hater of this guy now. Like I'm officially, he's my enemy.
Yeah, and he wears
how
those
I
little
feel.
scarves too. Ugh, give me a
He
break,
just
Darren.
seems
I know.
like your stereotypical film bro.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he didn't have to make him a creator, a poet and a writer. He could have made him something else that creates, like an inventor or a carpenter, or that would have been very biblical, carpenter. But yeah, he made him a writer. So that's, interesting.
Do we have more things we would like to say about the end before we move on to segmentos?
Yes. Do you want to guess what story the end is?
No, I don't. I will get it wrong.
Like with the rebirth.
Yeah, it's like everything has been so destroyed. Jennifer Lawrence has been fucked with so much to the degree that she's like, I'm gonna burn this bitch down. She's all black and scalded and crispy, and he's like
That was so
carrying her
disgusting.
away. And she's like, I've got nothing left to give, and he's like, no, there's one more thing.
Oh.
There's one more thing you can give me. Your love. And she's like, I guess just fucking take it. It's the giving tree. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh.
I love that. That is so sweet because she is Gaia after all. Fucking
She is a tree.
Christ.
So that's actually where Mother Nature comes in. Yeah.
So Oh yeah, that's actually. Oh,
At the end, you find out she is a tree, and
Yeah,
that's why
she's been a
she
tree
is
all
mother.
along. Really,
Been a
really
tree.
big twist.
Mother
The
exclamation
house
point.
is made of her wood, and oh my fucking god, that was just like so insulting at the end. I was just like, I felt insulted by this movie. I really did in so many different ways. But one thing that I did like about this movie is that there was that frog one time. There was a frog for 1 second. And did you know that the frog is a reference to the Egyptian goddess of fertility, Heket? Maybe that's how you say it. And
Hecate,
that
I
was
think.
Hecate?
That's a different.
Oh.
Hecate
It's
is the goddess of witchcraft.
Hequet.
Oh, well, that's not what I was thinking in my head for sure. So
I don't know how to say it, but that's how you spell it. And that goddess of fertility was often rendered as a frog. And so I liked the little frog that was there. That was
When
like,
I saw the
nice
frog,
that it was
to
the
be
dinosaurs.
a toad.
It is
What?
interesting that there's like no animals at all other than Miss
Except
Frog.
for that one frog.
Miss Girl.
I saw
Hopping
somebody
around.
say that it like represented the plagues.
That's what that makes sense too.
But
I
I
saw something that
also
said dinosaurs, and then dinosaurs are, fossil
I just saw this thing
fuels
about
and
My God.
oil, gas, whatever.
I
God
just
really
thought it
puts
was like,
people through
Monica's gonna
everything.
love that.
I
Little
loved
frog
the
for Monica. The
I was like,
Egyptian.
thank God. Literally, I think I said thank
A
God out
friend.
loud.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, and you were like, he doesn't create the house, her heart creates the house. But also, if that's the case, her heart is not creating the house that she was living in. It was the previous mother's heart that created the house. Because that was a different lady at the beginning, and it's a different lady at the end.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's all like the same, like that part I don't get. But it's like it implanted obviously the memories in her that she built this place from scratch for him to show her true devotion, which I don't understand why. It's an annoying thing to program into this nice girl with beautiful hair. Like,
Or it's just like the
Beautiful hair.
initial like innate desire to do it in whoever is doing it, maybe. You know what I
She's
mean?
making
Like
the
they
home
just
beautiful for him. He only restores the bones.
and it also it just pisses me off so much in the very very end that it's like the exact same setup, and then it's not Jennifer Lawrence again, so she doesn't have like individuality as the goddess of earth, Mother Earth, whatever. It's just like literally it looks like her through like a fucking 3D printer. Like it looks like just like her, but like a little bit different. I think that's the girl from Westworld also, but I don't.
I looked it up because I was really curious. And the names of the other actresses, the one in the beginning and the one at the end, are Sarah Jean Labrosse and Laurence Leboeuf, which may or may not be pronounced correctly, but that's my best effort.
Bro, Emily Hampshire's in this.
Yeah, she's the flood gal. She's the one who's going up and down on that. She's in Schitt's Creek.
In Schitt's Creek. Yeah.
Oh.
I did not notice her at all.
It's a star-studded
I'll
film.
be going back to check that out.
It is. There's a lot of people in here. Just so much going on, just generally.
Just so much.
And they all suck.
Yeah,
but yeah,
You
I mean,
are-
I think the
all the
fact
things
that
going on
it's
are
a
bad
different
things.
mother in the beginning, it's Jennifer Lawrence, and then it's a different mother at the end is. I'm not sure exactly what is trying to be communicated. It's not necessarily like 100. It's the same cycle every time, presumably, because we saw how it ended last time, and this story ends the exact same way. And the next story starts the exact same way that this one did. But the fact that it's another woman is so like, I'll chew you up and spit you out every time you're nothing to me. It's not even like we're gonna get a chance to start over. It's like you're so disposable. Which is really interesting if she's the earth. Like I mean, obviously the whole thing is God created the earth and the solar system, so he can just make a new earth and it's like a slightly different, but then it's like, why is it playing out exactly the same way every single time? And he's never learning his lesson.
He's so
is he ever
flawed? Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'll get into that later, but
I mean, I do think it's interesting to see God as like, why does God exist? Like, why, if God exists, why does he create humanity? Why does he create Earth?
Why is he a
And
dick?
Bored.
It kind of makes sense that it's like, yeah,
He's bored.
Well, I took it as like, I like it when people talk about me.
I need fans.
I need some fans. I need the attention. I like
don't we all
killing a little lamb. Wow.
I totally see that too. But like he's getting undying reverence from Mother in this scenario in particular.
No,
so
she shouts at him. So how dare she? She deserves it.
How dare she? But yeah, I think he's just mostly just like looking for something. He's like, what if I make a bro?
What if God just made a video game? Let's get a little creative.
Has he even thought about it? He can just play.
Have you done a crossword recently? Do a little challenging Sudoku?
What if God was just one of us, just a stranger on a bus?
We are all God, us and Darren. There is divine in all of us. We're all God, we're all Mother.
I fixed my toilet recently and I felt like a god. So
I
did it by myself and I was like, I am a god.
We should make a movie about you.
Oh my God, you should. It would honestly be better than this.
It certainly would. Okay, I think it's time for our segments. What do we think? The age-old question. How are we gonna do it with this one?
How could the Bible be gayer?
Could you make this movie gayer?
Oh my God, the Bible is so gay to begin with.
True.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there for sure.
I don't want to
didn't make it into the final cut.
I don't want to put any gay people through this shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if Mother had been lesbian this whole time, maybe this never would have happened.
If Mother and Eve got together,
that's
would be
actually
a
was the problem.
Movie.
If Mother and you got together?
Mother and Eve.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
either way,
had designs on her,
Yeah, I think Michelle Pfeiffer was ready to show Mother what a good time could look like. And Mother was like, I am zipping this cardigan up.
Eve is the original bisexual.
Yeah.
Eve, the original chaos bisexual.
That's true. Where's Lilith?
Could have also been, I don't know if he was in this movie, but John the Baptist, he and Jesus could have had a thing. I don't know. It's not.
If the baby hadn't been immediately eaten. Yeah.
The baby grew up a little bit.
and he
had a beautiful life.
That'd
and had a little boyfriend, John the Baptist.
I would have loved that for Jesus. I would have loved for him to not be ripped from limb.
I would have loved to see Jesus grow up. I would have loved to see the power struggle between Jesus and God. Mother too.
Oh my God, that would have been a great movie.
That'd be interesting. Cut out the whole warmonger part.
Mother 2, it'll just be called Son ... I
wouldn't watch it. But
I don't know how much more of this segment we need to do, I guess, because
save the gays.
Is such a thing.
Save the gays from this experience. Okay, where would Matthew Lillard go in this movie? At first, I would just like to say I don't want him to be in it also to protect him, but continue, Sydney.
Wrong. Matthew Lillard is going to be one of the people in the crowd that baby Jesus pees on.
Amazing. Yeah, what would make it, whatever Darren Aronofsky said that he wanted to happen with Kristen Wiig being in it, do that again by putting Matthew Lillard in the movie. Perfect.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig honestly could have just been Matthew Lillard. He would have been a great PR person.
That's true, actually.
I think Kristen Wiig's supposed to be the church, right?
She's the herald.
Herald, yeah.
What's the herald?
I don't know. That's what it says on IMDb. You don't know the herald? You know the herald.
Oh boy.
The herald. I don't know.
They announce that God is coming, right?
He's got the long horn trumpet and goes.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, she's the publicist. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
The church thing I kind of got because she was killing everyone.
I would love to see Matthew Lillard execute some people in a film. There's some
again.
Sorry.
He could have been that soldier who saves her for a little bit before he gets shot.
That's nice.
Before his head blew up. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think those are good placements for him. What about the dumb bitch? It's God.
It's God.
It's Javier Bardem. It's the poet.
Clearly, he doesn't see anything wrong with anything that's happening because he allows the cycle to play out the same way every single time. And every single time when the baby's little head snaps, he's like, we've got to forgive them. They didn't mean to do it. they just were so excited to be part of our lives and included in our special moment, and they just wanted to see him. And every time he goes, let's just do that once more. Just run it through again.
Run it back. Yeah.
We gotta just keep
carves
doing what we're
out of her
doing.
chest. Allows Eve to come in and break it every single time. But then gets mad about it and boards off the room. Like, you
put it somewhere else, brother.
know what's gonna happen here.
Put it
in
under
a drawer.
Put it under like a big like glass dome, like in fucking Beauty and the Beast or some shit.
Okay, I do have a question, and not to belabor this.
No.
The Rock is the heart of Mother, present, past, and future. It's also what gives the house life.
And it's the apple.
Yeah.
And it's the apple. Oh, okay.
Porque no los tres. Jesus Christ. God damn it. He's doing too many things, man.
You gotta pick one and stick with it.
Porque no los tres is really good, Monica.
So much.
Really great on the spot improving.
Thank you. You know me, I'm an improv queen. Are we ready for knives out of fives?
Yeah.
Okay. What do people think about this movie, Chelsea?
Well, it was complicated. It has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Too high,
and
sorry.
you know, IMDb only does 1 decimal point, but it's easy to imagine that actually it's a 6.66 on IMDb for little devil's number. But then on Rotten Tomatoes, it is 68% fresh from critics. So fresh from critics, but audiences, it is 51%, which is rotten. So critics liked it a lot more than audiences did. And I think that kind of makes sense in that artistically, in the way the movie is like put together, there is a lot to appreciate.
Totally.
But in terms of what the movie is communicating, I think it falls flat on a number of things, because it also was nominated for 3 Razzies. For Jennifer Lawrence for Best Actress, for Javier Bardem for Best Actor, and for Darren Aronofsky for Best Director. But people were really upset about Jennifer Lawrence being nominated for the Razzie, actually. Critics were like, she was the only redeeming thing in that whole film. Like, how could you do that to her?
Yeah, no, I've turned around on that. That's hilarious, though. I love that. That makes me feel flaming joy in my heart that he was nominated for a fucking Razzie.
It's going to reinforce Darren's whole thinking of my art is so sophisticated and people are the problem. You little please are the problem.
No, you're so true. It's so true. Oh my God. I just get mad when great art films that I love get 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm talking about The Covenant. And then
devastating
shit movies like this. I'm kidding. They're not on the same level at all. But I just
The Covenant is so much
4%
better.
Score on The Covenant. I'd rather watch The Covenant.
The Covenant is rewatchable.
Oh man. Okay, I'll go first to get it out of the way because you know it's gonna be bad. Okay, let me remember what I was gonna say. Hold on. I wish I could give you a 0, but I can't. So I give you a 1. That is the Tyra Banks quote.
Oh, gorgeous. Great reference.
Thank you. I've been thinking about that for like 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm giving it a 1. I hate this movie. I hate it so much. I appreciate that like he's trying to do something. That's great that he tried. He failed, in my opinion. Like he did stuff, but I think like I don't need to endure what he was trying to do, like getting his little like rocks off to being such a great artist or whatever. I really liked having this conversation though, because there's a lot to this movie for sure. There's a lot there's deep layers to it, but it's just like it's complicated, it's convoluted. I love the idea of like a vengeful god or an imperfect god. I like was obsessed with Greek mythology when I was younger, and so I love that shit. That's what that's all about. But like I don't know, with this it just felt misogynistic and I felt insulted for 2 hours and 1 minute. So that's me.
Yeah, I think There is a lot here. Again, like I said, when I was speculating about critics thought, I think there is a lot here that's really well done. The way that Jennifer Lawrence is in every scene other than the very beginning and the very end, I think is really compelling. It's really good at putting you in her perspective pretty much the entire film. It's like close up on her face, or you're like looking from where she's looking. You're so like with her, in her the entire time in a way that is really emotionally evocative. It really brings you into her headspace. You're so experiencing what she's experiencing. And I think, you know, the moments where she's like moving through the house after the brothers, and when she's like moving through the house and all the war stuff, it is really a strongly made film in that it gets you to feel what Jennifer Lawrence is feeling. In that sense, it's really well done. Some of the camera work is really beautiful. I don't know, they do a lot of really good stuff, but ultimately it so clearly wants to be a movie with something to say. And it is so not clear what they're trying to say. And especially even like, I don't know, I just think the religion aspect, sure, but if his thing is about the climate, he didn't communicate that really well at all. The fact that he's going on little explanation tours to be like, here's what my movie is about, is like not a good sign to me. The fact that you have to go around being like, okay, let me explain. I think
actually that's not what that meant.
Actually, you guys didn't get it. It is probably your fault. It's not my fault, but I will explain.
You don't not like it. You just don't get it. Let me explain it to you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of potential here. Maybe if he had like a really good editor. I think it's hard when you're like the writer and the director sometimes to know, like,
it's so hard being a creator.
It's so hard to be creative. But I mean, I've said it before. Everybody needs an editor. Like, what's in your head is not always what's making it onto the page. And what's on the page is not always communicating what you mean it to communicate. And I think, you know, another few sets of eyes in those parts of the process could have made a really meaningful difference. That said, I wouldn't give the movie a 1 because I do think that there's a lot of good stuff here. But I would give it like a 2, probably. 2 knives out of 5s.
I'm with you with the 2 out of 5 because it was. Here's the thing, and I hate this, but I loved the baby eating scene.
I was I'm shocked.
A lot of the religion stuff is like well done. Like they're eating the body of Christ, you know?
Like I got that. Like I was like, oh my God. 1 year of Catholic school, and I was like, this is but I was like, this is so metal. And I love Jennifer Lawrence's hair in this movie.
Beautiful, beautiful hair.
It's literally so pretty. And she does a good job acting.
Yeah.
Like,
I think.
Yeah, I
but
take back what I
also,
said.
if she's supposed to be Mother Nature is mean and scary at all times. Like,
or like has mood swings or something, you know what I mean? Like she is really powerful, but sometimes she's like warm sunshine, but sometimes she's a thunderstorm, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Mother Nature's terrifying. Always.
Seriously.
She can be a tsunami, but she can also be the gentle wave lapping at the sand on the beach, you know?
But
like,
also that gentle wave will drown you. Like
the riptide. Yeah.
Have you guys seen that Fantasia 2000 video with the forest fire? That's Mother Nature. Thanks. That's
you gotta burn things to the ground so that there's rich nutrients and they can regrow, blah blah blah. Something.
That sounds
so close.
Yeah, but then she just is destroyed. So, and there's just a new mother that comes along. Try again with a new mother.
Like this mother, I'm gonna have a new mother. Okay, bye.
Yeah. What do you think, Christine? You're up.
I know I brought it to the group. And so this is not related to my score. I also looked at my Letterboxd review for it. I gave it 3.5 stars, and my review was fucked up, in my opinion. And I kind of stand by that. It is kind of fucked up. But I'm
Quote,
gonna do
fucked up in my
3.
opinion, unquote.
Yeah. I'm gonna do 3 knives because it's you just once you know that he's trying to do all these different themes, it gets so confusing and so muddled, and you spend so much time trying to figure it out for him versus just seeing it and experiencing it. But I love my girl Jennifer. I think she does a great job. I love my girl Eve. I love Ed Harris. I love those sons.
Donald Gleason did great. Yeah, when he comes back and
Great
he's
job.
like, "They left you here alone."
Yeah. I just like looking
Yeah.
at him because I got a crush on him too, but that's separate.
But like there's parts of it that's so creepy, and even just thinking about that story of like the exiling of Adam and Eve, it's like, ooh, this is scary. Like, I don't want this to happen to me. But yeah, we get a little lost in Darren's ego, and I hope better for the next mother, praying for her.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll figure out a way to get out that house, get a little sunshine, go to a grocery store, pick up a latte. Enjoy
Darren,
I don't think Javier
She needs
learned a
her
damn
turmeric
thing,
latte.
Unfortunately.
Darren
Yeah,
needs to experience
not gonna see
ego
Noah.
death before he redoes this movie.
Yeah, we can only hope and dream. Christina, I just want to say that I know that I'm a registered hater, TM, whatever you put next to that R in a little circle.
See,
But I am
copyright.
really glad that we did this movie on the pod because I love to yell and scream, and I feel really good right now. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be
Good. Yeah,
an
I
hour and a
hope it's
half.
cathartic.
It feels really good for me, so thank you. And I'm glad that we did it. I really am. Though I'm never gonna watch it again in my life, and that's on God.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
On period, Pooh.
So I think that closes the door on Mother! Exclamation point. And next week we are moving on to something new. Sydney, I think you need to be the one who announces it.
So next week we're going back to my favorite a decade. We're going back to an OG Scream Queen. We're going back to a movie that we've already done.
Sort of.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Exactly. And that is Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I was so insistent that we do the new Prom Night, but I've actually never seen the old Prom Night, and I hear it's completely different. So
what I've heard I've seen the 5th one. I was on Horrible Horror. I don't know which one it was. I was on Horrible Horror podcast, and it was so much fun. And we did maybe the 4th one, maybe the 3rd one, maybe the 5th one. It's the one that's about religion. And I'm gonna look it up really quickly.
Making connections here.
So I've seen that one. And
a natural bridge between this episode and next episode.
I think it's called. Am I right? Yes, Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. That's the one that I've seen. And it's one of those things where they made a movie and then they're like, we're just going to tack on Prom Night to this so we can add it to the franchise. Anyway, that was a banger. Terrible, but a banger. So I can only imagine what the OG was like. And also, I've heard that the second one is really, really good. So this is also a way for us to get to that.
Ooh, I've seen this one. I've seen this one and the remake, but I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the sequels.
Okay, well, we're gonna dive right in, I guess. Open that door.
Yeah. So we can get to Hello, Mary Lou Prom Night 2. That's what it's called.
What a name. I think somebody has recommended that to us.
Yeah, a bunch of people have recommended it to us. I haven't seen it.
That's a great name.
I just heard it bangs. Anyway. But Christine, thank you so much for coming on and letting us work through our trauma together.
My little baby.
Thank you so much, Mother.
Exclamation point.
Mother, yeah. That exclamation point is doing so much heavy lifting.
I love it.
It's beautiful.
It got me in the theater. They got me out the theater.
I was like, damn, they're jazzed about this, Mom. We got to get in there. And then
So
we were
excited.
slapping
Yeah.
face for 2 hours. But okay, we're all feeling a little vulnerable here after just being angry for so long. At least me, I'm feeling vulnerable. Why not write something nice about us on a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to make us feel better and less scared after dealing with Darren Aronofsky's ego for so long? Think about it. Go write something nice. It'd be really good. Why not tell Christine she looks great in her glasses? You just do it. You should do it. Also, why not? Also, why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Also on oh my God, I just choked on my own tongue.
A little frog in your throat, a little biblical frog.
I literally gagged as I said YouTube. Am I having like some sort of weird response?
You're
I love
allergic.
YouTube. I love YouTube. And we've passed 100 subscribers now. But you know what's better than 100 subscribers? More than 100 subscribers. So please subscribe and help us get to our next goal of 150. I don't know, arbitrary. And also follow us on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod and on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. And as we always say, see you next Tuesday. Thank you for listening. Bye, Spookies.
Don't. Please don't. I love you.
You never loved me. You just loved how much I loved you. I gave you everything. You gave it all away.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.